Hi friends, today we are going to discuss how to get the NRC Postdoc Fellowship in the US. And the NRC Postdoc Fellowship is a very prestigious fellowship. Its full form is the National Research Council Postdoctoral Fellowship. And these are essentially known as the RAP program, that's the Research Associateship program. And these fellowships are given several times a year. You need to write a proposal for these fellowships, and the fellowship is not only very prestigious, but it also gives you a sizable stipend, which you can find from the web page is quite high. Now essentially this fellowship is given to PhDs. The aim of this fellowship is to foster excellence in scientific and technological research in the United States. The deadline for this fellowship is 4 times a year. It's on February 1, May 1, August 1 and November 1. Now this fellowship is just like many other famous fellowships. You need to find a host, you need to write a proposal, you need to get references, you need to apply, and then you get the fellowship if your case is good. Now, one of the interesting things about these fellowships is that this is not so much targeted to universities, but more toward national labs. And essentially, all these national labs do research on cutting edge problems. Some of them actually do basic research, and some of them do what may be called as applied research. Now, just to give you a flavor of some of these labs, this is a small set here. The full set is given in the web page. You have the Air Force Research Lab, it's known as AFRL. You have the National Institute of Standards and Technology, known as NIST. You have the NOAA, that's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Agency. You have the Naval Postgraduate School, that's known as the NPS. You have the Naval Research Lab and so on. So you will find that there are many national labs which are more focused on defense, and there are also some focus labs on more aspects of basic research. For example, NOAA does a lot of work which can be construed to be in the broad area of climate change type of work. Now if you go to the web page, you will find that most of these fellowships have certain requirements in terms of US citizenship or permanent resident, but there are several fellowships which are open to foreign citizens also. Now very frequently you will find that the ones which are not so defense related will be open for foreign citizens and permanent residents. The ones which are security and defense related are typically there for US citizens. So for example, Air Force Research Lab is mostly US citizenship required, but the NOAA is for US, PR or non-US in most of the cases. Now there are 2 ways to actually go about looking at a particular problem for this fellowship. One way is you can zoom into a particular lab, then drill down deeper into this lab and see what are the problems which are out there, which are associated with the lab or which are being given by the lab. So now for each of these problems there is going to be a title, there is going to be a 1 or 2 paragraph abstract, and there is going to be a name and email of a host or a likely host. Now what is expected is that you will look at this title, you will look at this abstract they have provided, which is a broad area of work which they are interested in and they are doing, and then you will write an email to this host to figure out some problem which you can do together with this person. Now this host typically acts as your mentor and your guide and your host during your stay here. So this person is very important, and it's important that you come up with a problem which is satisfactory to both you and to the host, because that is something very important. Most of the labs would not be interested in funding something which you are only interested in for yourself. They want whatever problem you do to be of interest to their own mission also. So that's something to keep in mind. Now a second way to find these opportunities is to actually look at the search function on the website. So you can search across all the labs by specifying certain keywords. So for example, if you are interested in optimization, you can type that keyword and then you can search as to all the problems which are there in that particular domain. Now here what you will find is that you can also select certain parameters in your search in terms of US citizenship required, US citizenship and PR, or US citizenship plus PR plus non-US citizen. And this will greatly save you time, because a lot of the opportunities here may be only for one class of people, and therefore you don't want to waste your time searching for that. Now, like I mentioned before, the important thing here is to find a host, and there are two secrets which I am going to tell you about the host situation. Now, of course, it helps to have a few papers in your resume when you apply, because at the minimum you need to write a cover letter to this person in an email, and you should put in your CV or your resume here as a PDF file. Now, if you have one or two journal papers which are of interest to this person, then of course you can put the PDF files here also, because this person may then want to look at those papers. So remember, papers are the currency as far as research and academics are concerned, and therefore people always want to take a look at any paper you have done. Now, one way is to go to conferences at the end of your PhD or near the end of your PhD. And this I have heard from many students who have successfully got this NRC, is that they actually talk to a person in this research lab who is listed in one of those proposals. And very often these people will go to the main conferences in the field. So if you can locate this person, talk to them, then you may come upon a problem which is of interest to both of you. Now, it often happens that people who go to these NRC postdocs, and if they do a good job, they may be absorbed into the lab, or they may get a job in one of the contractors to the lab or something like that. So again, the lab people typically don't want a person to just come and go away. They would like the person, after they have been trained, to continue to serve the lab in some capacity. So that is again something to keep in mind. Now, the second point is more of interest to foreign citizens, is that always try to focus your research on problems which are far away from security and defense issues. So if you are interested in getting the NRC postdoc, look at organizations such as the NOAA, which do a lot of work on atmospheric research, on the temperature in the sea and so on various such aspects. One more possibility is look at the EPA, which again deals with the environment. So wherever you look at problems which are more basic, maybe which are tied to climate change, which are tied to some diseases or infectious diseases and so on, you are likely to encounter greater success. So of course I have been more biased here toward the engineering and science type of works, but remember, there are a lot of national labs which are also focused on bio aspects. So again, I would suggest you go to the web page and check it out. Now, if you want to go to the web page, the easiest way is to actually go to Google and search for NRC postdoc, and if you do that, you are going to find the web page for this particular fellowship. Now, as I mentioned, this fellowship is not only very prestigious, but it's also pretty lucrative. It is one of the higher paying fellowships, and so there is a lot of competition. But if you have a well written proposal, a good resume, a favorable host, then you are likely to get it. So I will stop this video now, and I will see you in a video sometime soon. See you then.